Every year on May 1st, the world celebrates International Workers' Day, which is invariably known as Mayday. This day honors the contributions of the labor forces globally and serves as a reminder of the ongoing struggles and demands for better working conditions, equitable wages, and social justice. In Nigeria and many other countries, May Day is a significant event where workers' unions and labor activists come together to celebrate their achievements and push for improvements in labor rights and welfare. For a brief exploration on how Nigerian workers have fared after 2 years of the Tinubu presidency, we're now being joined by Professor Theophilus Ndubuaku, a member of the Minimum Wage Committee of Nigeria Labour Congress and the umbrella body of Nigerian workers. Good afternoon. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Okay, so Professor, beyond minimum wage negotiations, which specific anti-inflation protections would you say workers have lost in the last 2 years?
Well, I think the point here is, if we're looking at anti-inflation, there has been several things that have been done after the minimum wage negotiation that has eroded the whole negotiation, and now we are talking about, living wage. Because as you can see, even after we negotiated the 70,000 minimum wage, what you found out is that when it came to consequential adjustment, people were just giving 40,000 across board. So you see a situation where you have increased minimum wage from 30,000 to 70,000. Someone who is earning, that's over 100% increase. Somebody who is earning 200,000 should be expecting, even if you don't give him 100% plus increase, you should give him at least 75%. So he should be expecting like a, 300 and something thousand, 350,000 or so. But what you have seen is a situation where, aside of the minimum wage, the people at the level of the lowest paid workers, you now have across the board increase of 40,000. So if you are earning 200,000, you now get 40,000 when you are expecting 350. If you are earning 300,000 before, you get 340,000 instead of expecting 450 or more than that. So what we have is, it's like there was really nothing done much because the hardship has continued. And then you also look at the fact that even so many states have not even paid the 70,000 minimum wage. Even with the so-called consequential adjustment that is so minimum too. And then you have a situation where FAC is, has increased, from by about 66%. So that's much more money, because of these tariffs, electricity tariff, increase in fuel price, even in the tariff on the communications. And so there's so much money coming into government coffers, and the workers are suffering. So you can see why the World Bank is saying that the poverty line has increased, that is percentage below poverty line, has increased from 38 to 47%. So Nigeria, 47% of Nigerians are now living below poverty line. So we are now definitely going to go for, discussing living wage now, because it's the whole, inflationary trend has eroded all the work that was done to see how we can lift people up, from poverty. So that's the issue here. And then you have a situation where even in the Federal Capital Territory, just recently there was a strike. Why? Because the Federal Capital Territory administration has not paid the minimum wage. And then you see, you now ask yourself, why is this so? And in the same Federal Capital Territory that has not paid minimum wage, you see the council chairman defecting to a party. And then you now wonder, if he's not paying workers, and workers make up the voting population, how does he expect to win election by defecting to a party that is not paying, that is, under which Nigerians are suffering. And therefore, the only way is because he believes that he will be helped to win the election, to win the election, not by voting, because he's no more relying on the voters, but he's relying on abracadabra to win the election. So these are the issues. And then, so today we are saying we are celebrating the Workers' Day. And then what are we celebrating? I think we are just celebrating life, that we are still alive, not that we are workers, and then, so that's the situation we have found ourselves in this country. And so that's the thing.
All right, Professor.
So that's my comment for.
All right, very good, Professor.
Yeah.
If I may just come in, you've just ruled out some disheartening statistics there regarding, welfare of the plight of workers, as it were. But there's been a series of engagements by Labour over time within the past 2 years. But beyond this, what's the way forward in regard to all these problems and challenges that's been, has been on for some time, not just within the past 2 years?
Yes, well, yes. Yes, the way forward, as I say, is that we have to get back to the drawing board. And we have this cliche that the struggle continues. For us, the struggle continues. But I need to appreciate the fact that a media house like Arise keeps bringing up this issue, put it on the front burner. And so we keep talking to the people in power to let them know that we can't continue like this. If within 1 year, the poverty line, people in poverty line has increased by 10%, from 38 to 47%. And let us be clear, this 47% is about 100 and something million Nigerians. So now, instead of, people, the percentage decreasing, it's increasing. And somebody keeps saying that, the economy is improving. I mean, how does the economy improve when we are dying of hunger in this country? And when we are talking about Workers' Day, we are not just talking about those who are captured by the organized labor. The workforce in this country is about 50%. That's 110 million people. And so we are saying, if you have a 110 million workforce, and then you have over 100 million people below poverty line, this country is heading for disaster. There's no argument about it. So we are going to go back to the drawing board, but we also will want to look at the issue of governance, because we think that why people in governance don't seem to bother about the masses is because they don't really depend on our vote to get into power. That brings us to the issue of how do we maneuver to get Nigeria to make sure, to get this government to make sure that our votes count. Because if I am elected a governor or a member of the House of Representatives or Senate or whatever, and then I know that I'm coming back to the voters to seek for their vote, definitely I will make sure that I empower them economically. Well, a situation where I know that, I don't need them, so I just defect to the party or the organization that will help me get back to power without, the masses, the votes from the masses. And so when the masses are shouting, they're dying, I don't give a damn. So that brings us to the fact of this issue of voting, electoral reform. It's not a rocket science, for crying out loud. Because there are countries where you can't, votes are run and then, there is no rigging and the votes are counted. How do we in this country, how do the press help us? How do we mobilize to make sure that our votes count in Nigeria so that the people we elect in office will take care of us? So those are the strategies that we are going to go for moving forward. Like I said, we are going to now start talking about renegotiating, and looking at the living wage. We put the facts on the table for the government to say, okay, this is how it is now. Things have gotten worse. You gave 70,000, but that 70,000 has impoverished the workers. And then this 40,000 across board is a no-no. And so we are going to start looking at that. We're also going to start looking at all the tariffs, all the inflationary trends, and all the issue of how do you create jobs so that Nigerians can work, for their pay.
Professor Theophilus Ndubuaku, we'd like to thank you for your time and insight on this very crucial matter regarding workers' welfare. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsday.